Grimm Chronicles, my weekly reading update chit-chat. I am Kathy Grimm and my channel is that of the Grimm Reader, and this is going to be episode 15 for 2022. So I've made it through my second booster and things are kind of gearing up for the end of the semester, and there's a certain sort of busyness in the air, and I can tell I'm a little, on the one hand, kind of over this semester and kind of looking forward to the summer and my trip to Germany, and I'll be teaching a select group of students there for a couple of weeks with a colleague who's the main leader of this study abroad program. And I'll be in Heidelberg for the most part, but then also I will be visiting with my sister a little bit before and a little bit after, and she lives in the town of Wiesbaden. And I, of course, will take you along for the journey. At least I will try and do the updates, continue to do the updates on Tuesdays, and I'll do, I was thinking I would try and do travel vlogs because it's always kind of fun to see people go from one place to another, documenting the journey, and then a couple of days, you know, my time in Germany type things too, because that's always fun. And this has probably been one of the weeks where I read the least because of, first of all, the booster stuff, and also just a mixture of being distracted and also just busy. So I have not been able to read even as much as I would have liked. I'm still continuing on with my fantasy novel, which I won't even pick up this week. My audiobook, it's fine, it's good. And it's House of Chains by Steven Erikson. I think it's book, which one is it? 4 of the Malazan Empire books? I think it's 4. Yeah, pretty sure it's 4. Unless it's 3. No, I think it's 4. Sorry, doesn't matter. And so the Jean-Paul project, so the 18th century writer, esoteric German writer, unless you are a Germanist and interested in the 18th century, that project has stymied a little bit because I was trying to read him on the iPad, and his 18th century wordy wordplay and references to and also just words that I'm not familiar with. For example, the German word for daddy long legs is about 10 of them at least, and I wasn't really familiar with any of them. And then the one he uses is not the one that my brother-in-law uses. And anyway, it's really the kind of book where I would need an annotated version of it, which I'm going to go on hunting for in Germany a little bit, or it's just not that good for me to read. For some reason, Jean-Paul and his 18th century idiom and the iPad are not a good mix, at least not for me. I need to be able to go back and see where the sentence or the previous sentence started, and they're long sentences sometimes, and so he has these sort of convoluted metaphors that he uses, you know, from one sentence to the next. He sort of riffs on things a little bit, and it's really funny, I think, and quite well done, but I could sort of see why a lot of people just don't have the patience for it, and I need a text copy of it, and I am still interested in him. There's one person that he was reminding me of that I've also had my difficulties with, and that is Cervantes, Miguel Cervantes and Don Quixote, which I've tried to read twice, not sort of since I've sort of come back to more earnest endeavors of reading, so maybe now it will be different, although I'm not sure. But there too, there's a humor there, there's a way of approaching his topic that you have to kind of go along with and just go along for the ride. And the 2 times that I started, the second time I got into a little bit more, and I did see the humor in it all, but I also just stopped and gave up on Don Quixote. How could I? But yeah. So have you read Don Quixote? We're playing that game of, what's this? It's a game from a novel where the professors kind of one up each other with books that they haven't read, famous books that they haven't read. I think I'd always win that game. There's so many books I haven't read. So, I mean, I guess we all feel that way. Well, some people don't, but I definitely do, because it's true. There's a lot of stuff I haven't read, even German stuff. But so the little bit of reading that I did do was mainly my Zola novel, his Excellency Eugène Rougon, and I've been really enjoying it. And I'm not very far in. I was going to try and do 10 pages a day, but even that I was not able to manage. For one thing, when I did the 10 pages a day with the other book, The Angel in the Forest, I did have the little Twitter read-along group. It was a very small group of about 3 other people, but that was enough to sort of give me that extra momentum to read 10 pages a day and catch up when I was behind. Although, I mean, I have a feeling if I were as busy as I am now, then it would have been harder. So I'm still going to stick with it and just try and do as much as I can. So this is the second in the chronology of the Rougon Marquis series, but the 6th novel that he published. And so we are introduced to this Eugène Rougon, who's in the kind of the Council of State, I think it's called. It's not really a parliament, but it's sort of a primitive version of a parliament. The Council of State, established by the French consulate government, a judicial body mandated to act as legal advisor to the executive branch to adjudicate claims against the state. And so this is 1856. And what's interesting, if you look at the good annotations that are quite helpful, I wish I had Jean-Paul in this kind of edition, is that Zola has gone in and actually looked at the court proceedings, the bulletins of the parliamentary proceedings have a written record. And he's actually lifted stuff from the written record and put it in here. So it's really sort of ripped from actual historical stuff. And the annotations also tell me that people in the book are based on actual people, so to a certain degree. So it really is a sort of a society novel of its time about the politicking going on. And what's interesting about Rougon, sorry, I don't quite know how to say his name, Rougon. If it's rouge, it should be Rougon, I don't know. Anyway, he's a sort of a powerful man in this body, but I think he's been asked to step down for some kind of reason, and I'm not quite sure about, something to do with a scandal. And so all of his sycophantic friends and hangers-on are kind of milling around him to make sure that whatever they wanted his help with, he will continue to advocate for them. And there's a very funny scene where he's in his office trying to pack up all his papers and dig through all his papers, and they all keep piling in. It reminded me of that scene in the Marx Brothers movie where they keep coming into the ship's cabin. There's all these people in this little room, although the room in this case is bigger. But it has that kind of humor about it, and they're all very much kind of trying to get his attention and go and take, and it has this little sayings of, and they all kind of take him over to the window to talk to him in private in front of everyone else. It's really well done, and it's quite funny, and so I'm really enjoying it much more than I enjoyed the only Balzac that I have read to this day, which is Cousin Pons, which maybe that's because it was Cousin Pons, and I do want to give Balzac more of a go. I'm interested in both of them, but I read Germinal first by Zola, and I really loved that novel, which was very sort of the brutal everyday life of very poor people working in their mines. Excellent novel, dark. The middle class was portrayed in a very negative way, or even upper middle, the bourgeoisie. They were pretty negative in that novel, and I really liked it. And the first one of this I liked a little bit less. I just wasn't able to. It didn't pull me in as much, but it was still quite good. Oh, even parts of it were very memorable. I still remember the beginning parts where the two people, you watch this group of people who are coming into a town to stage some kind of mini revolution, as the French want to do. And so I really like Zola, and I would like to read more Zola. And I would recommend him if you're interested in and okay with 19th century novels about the society that he's portraying. It's sort of a realist novel in that sense, and he does kind of remind me a little bit of the German, also 19th century Theodor Fontane, also kind of who was writing about Berlin and sort of the northeast or the eastern parts of Germany and Prussia. So Prussia, I guess, he's a Prussian writer, and very good at depicting the social classes and the interactions of people at a dinner party or at an outing, and I really like the stuff. It's my, it's very, very comfort reading for me almost. And because I haven't been not having a good time reading Jean-Paul on the iPad, I'm still sort of wary. I mean, I really like my paperbacks and I kind of just want to take a couple of them to Germany. But I have a feeling I'll probably just take the iPad too, because once I'm there, it probably will just be easier to use it for certain things, including reading perhaps, especially sort of perhaps magazine reading. If you have subscriptions to magazines, I have a subscription to the New Yorker and stuff like that, and the iPad will be better for that. So I probably will still take it and not the Kindle. And in between, I might still try and read something on there, but it would be something more modern. I was watching Ann, a Belgian booktuber, talking about the Lauren Groff novel Matrix, which I had no idea what it's about. It's a historical novel about Marie de France, and it sounded really intriguing, so maybe I'll pick that up. We'll see. I have never read any Lauren Groff. The book that, so I know I have the bird books in the background, but I'm still kind of on this, I want plot, but I do also want style. And the book that I'm sort of in new young people's palettes and vibing with is a strange book by Thomas Mann, one of my favorite authors of all time. And he's just, I love his style so much. I just fall into the way he uses his words just deeply. And this is a strange late novel of his, not the last one. I think his last novel was Felix Kroll, which I also need to read. This is called The Chosen One. Well, that's the German title. In English, it's translated as The Holy Sinner. And boy, oh boy, what a story. It's a crazy ride. I've been looking at the content of it in the wiki. And yeah, I don't even know where to begin. But I've just started the first few lines of it. I haven't really started the book, but it is a sort of a Thomas Mann taking on this medieval epic story that was told about a Pope Gregorius, or the Gregorius is what they call it anyway. But the story, the epos that it's based on is by a German, early German writer. I think he is kind of considered one of the courtly poets, and that's Hartmut von Auer. And I'm not really up on my German courtly literature, Eschenbach, Strasbourg, medieval classical literature. Anyway, that's the sort of, and it says here on the German wiki page about Auer that he, or maybe it's the English one, that he kind of brings in the Arthurian legend type of story into the German realm. Anyways, but that's just sort of the impetus that Thomas Mann took for his story. And of course, he's going to do all kinds of weird, also quite modern things with it, sort of, and also it's also a commentary on one of his favorite topics. It says here is the nature of good and evil and its connections to magic. So it really is kind of connected to one of my all-time favorite novels, which is Dr. Faustus. And apparently there was a little Gregorius episode in Dr. Faustus, something to do with puppetry that I don't really remember. But anyway, first of all, one of the main reasons that I was drawn to it is I really like this cover, this monk going up the stairs. It's a picture that I'll look up the provenance of. I'm not sure I think it says here Max Scheele at Rome. I don't know if that's the person who took the picture. Maybe, I don't know. But also it's not long. It's one of his shorter novels. And it was supposed to be a novella, but Mann couldn't help himself and wrote another novel. So I haven't started it yet, but it's kind of, I'm still sort of vibing with this one the most, if I'm allowed to say that, with the likes of Thomas Mann. Do we vibe with Thomas Mann? I do. And so I think that's it. I'm looking at another book that I don't even think I'll show you because it's just one that it's sort of it's one that I bought recently and I do want to read, and it's I'll just show it to you, whatever. The trilogy of Beckett novels, and I have never read any Beckett, or not even Godot. I don't think. I'm not that interested in Godot. I'm much more interested in the novels, the trilogy. So Malloy, Malone Dies, and The Unnameable. So kind of another sort of high modernist or modernist work which I'm hoping is a little bit more digestible than Finnegan's Wake. Even though I think some people say it's sort of similar. It's his Finnegan's Wake. And I didn't know this, but apparently he wrote it first in French and then translated it himself into English. So, okay, these people who are so multi-talented, you gotta, hats off to them all. Smart people. Anyway, so that's sort of in there. But see, I wouldn't want to take that to Germany on top of these. I may not even be finished with Zola, but I'm going to try and finish this before Germany. And we'll see. We'll see. Knowing me, I'm sure I'll pick up quite a few, or I'll be tempted to pick up quite a few things when I'm in Germany. So that's just normal. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I'm trying to think if I have anything else. No, not for this week. I'm just busy, and a couple more weeks with the semester, and then pack, and then off to Germany I go for a little over 5 weeks. And yeah, it's going to be fun. Of course, I'm not too thrilled with the fact that now people don't have to wear masks on planes, but nothing is stopping me from going. And I will probably just wear my mask on the plane. I don't wear a mask now at school even. I've been okay, and I am 4 times boosted, or 2 times boosted and 2 times vaccinated. But I think on the plane, I don't know. I think it would be, at least most of the time, unless I'm sort of having my dinner or something, I'm going to be wearing a mask, I think. I think that might be a good idea. It was just today or yesterday, or I think this morning, last night, that some judge in Florida, of course Florida, said you don't have to wear the masks on planes, which I guess had been causing a lot of trouble because people were you know, sort of flight rage was happening because of people not wanting to wear the masks, which, oh, so sad. Hope everyone is doing well, and please comment away whatever you have to say. I've been loving the comments and the feedback on my vlog. I'm very grateful, and yeah, I will continue to do them now and then, as I will continue to do the stationery stuff too. Now and then you'll get a little stationery one and the weekly updates of my reading. Actually, yes, I was tagged to do the Beatles tag, so, and it's kind of a nice one. Jen from Remembered Reads, and so maybe I'll try and do that when I have more time before I leave. We'll see. No promises, but we'll see how things go. I mean, I had a crazy Beatles phase. Not just some, many years ago. Anyway, I will talk to you all next week, and hope you're doing well. And that's it for this week. Bye-bye.